Brett Perigo, tonight's second place finisher. Plenty of fans here, Brett, and a solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terribles over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with, talk to. I really like them.
How are you doing tonight, man?
Hey, I'm talking here. You know who you're talking to? Macho Man! I'm on my way to Monday Night Raw.
How do I want to answer the second one?
Your choice.
It's a trap.
I feel like it is. I feel like he's setting up fights in the front stretch is what he's trying to do.
Port Royal Speedway. Got Devin Gordon with us.
At Keen Motorsports Shop here with Kyle Keen.
Sitting here with Sean Keen. We're going to talk a little bit about racing history.
Yep. What's going on, everyone? Turn 2 Terribles here. Happy 410 day. It is April 10th, 2023. I am joined here with Jeremy. Chris is not going to be joining us tonight. I sure hope Chris is okay. No, he's okay. He's got some other stuff going on. But we got a great show for you still tonight. We got Kody Hartlaub is coming on. Great, fantastic weekend for him. A podium and a win at Lincoln, and a podium at Williams Grove. And then we got a lot of racing to talk about. There was a lot of racing this weekend. I might even get into Bristol Dirt. We'll see. But Jeremy, I know you were at Lincoln on Saturday. We were both at Williams Grove on Friday. It was great to have a 2-race weekend, like a traditional one. How was your weekend?
All is right with the world. We got a Friday night Williams Grove and a Saturday night. Choose your which way you want to go there. So it was a great weekend. Was the weather ideal for both days? Probably not. It was a little cold, but Williams Grove got it in. They had a great service and a fantastic race, which we'll get into. Port Royal had a great race. Lincoln had a great race.
Yep.
Can't complain with any of it. I mean, honestly, and weather looks great this week for maybe a 3-day race weekend. So we shall see.
Yeah, it's going from winter to summer real quick. The way the weather's looking, like it's gonna be almost like it's supposed to be almost 90 on Friday. It's insane to me. Well, without further ado, we won't keep this guy waiting. We're gonna bring on Kody Hartlaub. The podium finish on Friday at Williams Grove, and the win at Lincoln on Saturday. Kody, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Man, so how you feeling after the weekend? Feeling good?
Well, Friday, about halfway through the feature, I was feeling real good. Then kind of, in my opinion, kind of gave that one away Friday. But then after Saturday, and made sure I didn't do that again. But no, feeling good. Picking up the win at Lincoln was awesome. But even just being in contention at the Grove was even cool, because like you don't get that opportunity much there. And just because the way the racetrack is and the way the field is, like if you can run up front there, you're doing pretty good.
So I want to kind of get into that a little bit. I don't want to talk too much on your, lead to third or dwell on the negative going that way. But I mean, it's got to be encouraging first to get through your heat and make redraws both nights in a row, right? Was it a redraw for both?
Yeah, redraw for both nights.
And
Yeah.
you got to start up front in both. Like
Yeah.
that alone is a win. You made the redraw on both nights and you got to start up front. Last year, the way it seemed to go, you made all the features, but you had to always claw your way through every event and fight for that redraw spot. And even times where you're in a redraw and something would happen and you missed the redraw. And so, I mean, just that alone, I think that shows the capability and the potential for yourself and your team that you make the redraw, the world gets a lot easier. And I think you know that, but at the same time, it's like putting that whole night together. And I know we talked about that a few months back when we had you on. That's got to be encouraging no matter what happened Friday night to get that start, to not only get through the heats, whether you redrew fifth or second. I think it was a win to get in a redraw both nights. I mean, have you thought about that part of it yet?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like the way that we went and tested Wednesday, I think you were there a couple weeks ago, and like I was the slowest car there. Like I swear I was the slowest car there. And we came back, we did our homework, and we went back up. I think it was that Saturday for the BAPS race, and it took rubbers, and we really didn't know what we had. So then, this past Friday at Williams Grove, that was like the first true test of what the car did, because like this is a new car for me, and we changed everything around this year, and it was all new territory, and like it was just nice to know that the car had speed, especially at Williams Grove, and then turn around and have the same speed at Lincoln. It was just really nice to know that we're on the right path.
So Williams Grove, I know we talked about it a little bit in the pits afterward, and I know you weren't feeling great about it, but I kind of stood there and was like, I get that. I'm a competitive person too, and I would never want to, get the lead and then give it away. But to be racing around the guys you were racing around with the laps they have and the laps you don't, to have that just like, I think you learned something when Kody passed you. You're like, oh, okay, you ran the top there for a little bit in 1 and 2, and then you moved down, and yet you kind of had to. I think it's one of them deals where after a yellow flag, you get those laps at Williams Grove, you might go, okay, it's probably time. Do you kind of like?
No, I was just gonna say, for sure, I was making really good speed in the top of 3 and 4, and I felt like I can maintain, the same speed in 1 and 2, but like I kept seeing his nose to my inside, and knowing myself, I just didn't have the confidence that I could run the bottom and not slip off of it. So it was easier for me to just kind of commit to what the top there was, and then I just made that one mistake on the restart. I should have protected, and I didn't, and I lost the nose a little bit about halfway through the corner, and that's all it took for Kody to get the run. But then once he got around me, I was just more impressed also that I could keep up with him, and he didn't pull me. So that was cool.
Yeah, I mean, your car was fast, like you said. The speed was there, and I think that putting the speed you have, and then you get the experience at Williams Grove. I don't see any reason you can't win multiple races there, whether it's this year or next year, depending on, things have to go right. I know how the nights go, but to have that speed and you start in the top 5-ish somewhere, you're that guy that's like, oh man, he's starting near the front. He's going to be a problem. And then turn the page to Lincoln a little bit. What you did Saturday night is everything that I've seen as a fan and as somebody who's been watching that division that you're capable of every weekend. And I think that, and it's like putting that all together. And you got out to the lead in that. I looked around. I'm like, he's in the lead. Like, when did this even happen? It didn't take long, and you were like, by the time you go back to me in the lead, you were 6 or 8 car lengths ahead. So I don't know if there was a mistake there, and it never felt in jeopardy watching you run the rest of that race. To me, could you kind of tell that while you're in the car that you where you were as far as a lead at any point?
Not really. I mean, when you get out front, it's kind of hard to judge it, but you just kind of try to the way I try to do is when I get out front, just kind of calm yourself down and make sure you hit your marks, because it's very easy to blow a corner or blow wherever you might screw up, especially with lap cars, because we got the lap cars fairly quick, and I got through the first couple real good, and then the caution came out, and I was like, dang, I felt like I got through them really good, and now they would have had to. But then caution came out, and then from that point on, it's just use your head. And for once, I think I finally did that on a restart and didn't give that one away.
At either track, do you ever watch the scoreboard to see who's behind you?
I do. Not every lap or every caution, but you peek up every once in a while, and like that was a big thing. Saturday was like I knew like with Frankie on the pole, like he's real fast, and I knew that was going to be tough. But I had it in my mind, and I had all the confidence, and that's the big thing is the confidence. And after running good Friday night, I was like, well, there's no reason we can't go out here and do the same thing again Saturday. So I kind of committed early to the top because I knew he was probably going to go to the bottom, and he did. And just once we got our momentum up there, and we were able to slide him for the lead there going into one. And after that point, like I felt like I was making good speed on both ends, especially in 3 and 4 up top again. And it just happened that the caution came out. Then I went to the bottom of 1 and 2 in the restart, and it felt just as good down there. So I knew I probably should not screw around too much more up top because the bottom still felt really good. And then we got to the lap traffic at the end there again, and then I moved down on both ends, and it was still real good. So, no, I mean, you always try to run as hard as you can, but you got to keep in mind that, like, you still got to hit your marks, and you still got to be, smooth, because if you're not, it doesn't take much for them to catch back up to you.
I think, being a student and of that division, you kind of also know, okay, it's Frankie, right? Like, if you have the opportunity to move down, it feels good. You might as well move down and make him go where he doesn't really want to go to pass you. Otherwise, you can just kind of do your thing. And that's the 358 division. Over the years, I've kind of noticed that as the features wear on, if you have something good to start, by the time you get to the middle of your race, it ends up around the bottom at Lincoln most nights. So even, you've raced a lot of laps at Lincoln where the opposite of the Grove, where I think at Lincoln, even if you felt great up top, you know who's behind you, you know how the races go. Moving down, if you feel fine down there, you're probably not going to get past.
Yeah, and that's another thing is like I felt in the way the track was, like 3 and 4 was real top dominant, I felt. And but like when 3/4 of the field, moved down in 3 and 4, well, that just makes the top real dirty on exit. Yeah. So then you got to keep that in mind. Like, hey, like I'm catching lap cars, you see where they're going. You got to try to time where they're going and try to get there at the right spot so you don't get caught up with them. But yeah, that's just things that come with laps, and that's kind of one thing I lack at Williams Grove, and I have a pretty decent good amount at Lincoln is laps, and I'm just slowly starting to piece it together.
Jimmy.
So 2 good runs here to basically start your season. How do you build on that to continue to, go through the 2023 season? And how do you kind of keep yourself level-headed? Because you do know, it's probably not going to be a weekend like that. I mean, you never know, but, like draws and everything, it might not be like that every weekend. How do you keep yourself kind of level?
And that was the best part, actually, was this weekend. Like I'm terrible with pill draws typically, and like Lincoln, I didn't even have to pull my pill. I was the last one to pull. So I think that's what helped me out there. But no, not winning last year was kind of disappointing, honestly, because, we were consistent and like we had like one bad month, but like we really never fought for wins. I mean, yeah, I had a couple seconds, but it wasn't like, neck and neck seconds. It was like I ran second. But coming out and just showing dominance, early, that's a lot, and getting the first win out of the way early means a lot too, because you don't get 2-3 months into this deal and be like, when are we going to win? So it just it helps.
And what do you got coming up here next few weeks? What's the plan for the team?
So Lincoln this Saturday with the 358, and then we're slowly trying to get the 410 built for next weekend. But we should. I'm thinking that we'll have time and we will be able to make it. So hopefully next week when 358s are off at Lincoln, we'll be hopefully making our first start in 410 this year. So
perfect, man. That's awesome. Car's going to look the same.
Didn't really decide yet, honestly. I think because we were in between wrapping it or not wrapping it, because we're only going to run 5 shows. So we weren't really sure what we were going to do, but we were going to like probably just take the wing off the 358 and put that on, like have like the front nose wing, wrapped, and who knows about the body. But this past weekend I had a little mishap with the wrap, and actually Brandon's going to come up this week and rewrap some wings for me. So I think we might get him to wrap the car. So if we do, it's probably going to be the same.
I'm okay with that. It looks good. It's a good looking race car.
How do you like the white car?
I do. You know what? I made my post about with Lincoln. My first post was like, I didn't have many ready, and it was a lot of pictures and Easter and holiday and stuff. And I looked at my what I posted. It was like 4 of the 6 were white cars, and I was like, it's just cleaner when it gets dark out. They're just cleaner, so it works out. Brett Perigo said you could take the wing off and run the East Coast wingless Friday night at the Grove if you wanted.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. For one, I don't think my mom would be too happy, and I know for sure my wife wouldn't let me. So,
Hey, man, we'll get you out of here. We about used up our time. Congratulations. Great weekend. It was awesome to see the wife and the baby with you in Victory Lane. I know that meant a lot to you. And, your dad said in Victory Lane, and he remembered it. I actually forgot. And he goes, "What'd you predict for Kody in wins this year?" He said, "I think 7." And I said, "Damn, did I say 7?" Well, you're on your way, my friend. So congratulations, and we'll see you this weekend.
alrighty, sounds good, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
All right.
All right,
Awesome.
Kody Hartlaub, that was awesome. We got the 358 winner from the Grove last weekend, or was that last week? Was that last week? 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
We just did a different show last week, and then Kody Hartlaub this week. And I kind of wanted to get a hold of Kyle Moody, see if he wanted to come on here, but just ran out of time with the holiday, and we'll get that together. So we'll get some more, hopefully some 410 winners on here coming up. And if you guys have any requests, send them our way. I do have a couple of people who had messaged me about some people I want to reach out to. Maybe a completely different direction than a winged sprint car.
Yeah. We got a couple people asking to come on, so we're gonna just try to get that scheduled out while also trying to cover all the races here every weekend. Try to stay if we can get a winning driver on, why not? We're 2 for 2 here. So
we're all bored. We need things to do. We need to go to more races and we need more guests. So we need things to do. We're not busy at all. All right, man. Let's talk about the weekend a little bit. So
I think before we get into the racing, I do think we should probably just give our condolences to Justin Owen, who lost his life in an accident on Saturday. Scary accident. Not something you want to see. It was a little eerie that it was the same night that the Outlaws were running the Jason Johnson Classic. That's just me personally, but definitely something you don't want to see. Everybody in the sport feels the shockwaves from that. So
it was pretty far reaching. I mean, Christopher Bell, talked about it. He's a dirt guy. He made a post after the Bristol win. This isn't it's not a name that was a household name per se, Brian Clausen or Greg Hodnett. But at the same time, you could tell the connections that he had made with people over the years. AJ Flick, Christopher Bell. I mean, there were people from all the sport, no matter what genre, no matter what discipline you're in. It's just super, super unfortunate. So prayers to his family and friends for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So we definitely wanted to touch upon that and rest in peace, Justin. So I guess let's start with Williams Grove on Friday. Finally got the lid lifter off there. It was a little chilly, but it was nice. Track came in nice. A lot of cars, 30 and 30. Kody, we already talked a little bit about the 358 feature. Cody Fletcher won that feature with Derek Block second, and then Kody Hartlaub third. But the 410 feature, already starting with some Danny and Freddie drama, kind of.
Literally couldn't have started any sooner than the first 100 feet of the damn race.
Not before the green flag of the feature. We already have it going. So Danny gets the pole of the feature. Freddie gets second. Kind of ironic. And I don't know. Some people are saying Freddie pinched him. I personally didn't see it that way. Maybe it was tight. I don't know. I'm not in the car. But it just looked like Danny kind of got into the inside guardrail coming out to take the green. And that pretty much he was able to get repairs and come back out. But that took him all the way in the back and set up a hell of a race. I don't know what you saw on that Danny-Freddie deal.
I actually saw the replay late. I didn't even know what happened. I was on the backstretch when the race took off, and they come around the backstretch, and Danny comes down the backstretch with a left front flat, and I'm like, did he start on the pole? Like, how does this happen? Like, what did I miss here? And I was so confused. And then I kind of, after the race, I was going out to 358 Victory Lane, and Danny was walking right there by me at the start-finish line in the infield, and I was like, what happened? He was not happy, and his opinion was he got done dirty. So that was his opinion on it. I saw the video as well. I don't know what to think. It was a video from pretty far away. Mm-hmm. I can't tell. It didn't look like crazy egregious, but when you're in the driver's seat, you feel what you feel. So I'm not going to make a judgment on what I think on that one because I felt like, miles away from that incident, what happened. But no matter what you do, if you get a flat tire on the start of the feature and you're on the pole at a 410 in Williams Grove, it hurts. Yeah. So whether you made the mistake and, or not, you're pissed. Right. So I don't blame the initial reaction to be pissed unless you absolutely just made a mistake, but he didn't feel that was the case. And then after that, unfortunately, that was the start of it. We saw one hell of a feature.
Yeah, it was awesome. And
I almost hated that I was on a backstretch because I missed so much. Like that at Williams Grove, typically standing on a backstretch, you get to see most of what you need to see.
Yep.
Fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
This was not it.
No, it's all in 3 and 4.
I couldn't see past the trailers going around the front. Watching these guys slide each other through people and haulers in 3 and 4, and 1 and 2, you're peeking around, seeing what's going on off of 2. I wish I had your seat for the race on that one.
Yeah,
you were on the front stretch grandstands.
Yeah,
and it looked incredible. And I just want to know. Now, I might have missed this, and you watched it. Was the 70 of Scotty Thiel that much of an influence on what happened at the end there? Because
I don't think so. I think Zeb used him as a pick coming out of 2.
But did he plan that? Because it seemed
no, I don't think so. They were in thick lap traffic. Scotty wasn't that slow. I mean,
the front wing was just destroyed on that car.
Yeah, it looked like that collapsed maybe the lap before, but I just think Zeb picked his mark and used him as a pick coming out of 2 the right way. I don't think Scotty was that bad. You know what I mean? I don't like to the point where it really.
Because, I mean, if you got a
car, it kind of cost Macri the win, but
if he's not there, Macri has more clean air on the nose.
Yeah,
is he fast enough to hold the lead?
I don't know. I thought Zeb was going to win that when Freddie slid, when Macri slid Freddie, and then Zeb, man, just hooked that bottom underneath him. I'm like, oh man, like he looks good. And
it looked like a NASCAR race when 2 cars in the lead are fighting, and third place gets a speed boost.
Yeah, catbird seat.
But it kind of was, right? Because they killed each other's momentum trying to fight for the lead. They don't know Zeb's that close. You know what I mean?
No.
He did everything right. And then perfect timing, got clean air when he needed it, and that was it. So it was awesome. Not that I love an invader, beating our local guys, but man, I was hyped for that.
It was impressive.
It was a cool race.
Bill Rocky chiming in here, using lap traffic to your advantage is what sprint car racing is about. When you get a caution-free not caution-free, but when you get in the lap traffic, you have a lot of green flag laps. You don't have a caution fest. That's exactly what it's about. And Zeb picked his, he took advantage of a spot. Macri would have did the same to him, and Scotty has every right to be out there. I mean, he was
100%. He's racing.
He's racing. He was racing other cars there, even if his front wing was a little collapsed. He didn't do anything wrong, in my opinion. So I don't know why people were even saying that.
He might have been fighting the handling a little bit on it, but he still ran a line. It's not like he was darting all over the place. We've heard it for years that the leader sometimes is the worst place to be in a sprint car race in lap traffic.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get to, like Zeb did that perfectly, where he was able to run his race, let those 2 battle, and just did his thing. So I couldn't feel better for Williams Grove. Because it finally got a race in. It was one of the best 410 races we've seen in a long time.
Yes. Yep.
Whether an Invader won or not, and Zeb's not a bad guy to our local fans, right? He's one of the good guys.
Yep.
And for him to get his first career win that way, man, what a night! That was pretty cool.
There's battles all throughout the pack.
Yeah.
Lance was there, then spun in turn 2. I don't know what happened there. So I thought I saw somebody say he got spun, or he just spun himself. I didn't see it. I don't know.
He was 6th at the time?
Yeah, he was somewhere around there, and he was fast. He was probably going to come up and maybe mix it up a little bit there, I would think. But, it didn't happen that way. But it was an awesome race. Another Invader, though, winning the Williams Grove opener because
what's going on with that?
We haven't had a home guy win because last year was Eliason.
And the year before, the COVID year was he was
Macedo.
Macedo.
It was Macedo in 2020.
Yep. The COVID year was like no.
2021. I'm sorry.
2021.
Right? Yeah.
No, because an Invader won the 2020 before it shut down because he was the points leader until like May because they didn't race again.
It was. Was that Macedo? I think that was Macedo year. So Macedo.
Some historian in our chat here, tell us who won. who
won 2021 then?
Opening day.
Justin Peck won last year. Justin Peck won last year.
2022.
And then I think Eliason the year before. And then I think
Before that.
Macedo before that. I
Crazy,
could be
right?
wrong on the Elias thing. I could be, but Justin Peck 2022
Okay.
says Nick
There's
Lowe.
Peck in 22. We'll get it here. Get our historian. Somebody look up in the record. We have bad memories. I just remember, was it the COVID year or 22 when everybody was hitting the inside tire and turned 3 and 4? I think Bishop, Wagaman, Buckwalter, they all hit the inside. There we go.
So
2020 was Carson. 21 was
okay.
Freddie. And then, okay, that makes sense. So Freddie got one in there.
Yeah, let's put this up. Thank you, Rocky. So, yeah, Freddie, Carson,
How do you
Macedo,
know how many
Lucas Wolf,
spaces?
Lucas
Oh, you
Wolf.
copy and pasted, didn't you? Put it all together.
and Peck last year. So, okay, so we had Freddie in there, but
Freddie in there. But either way, it's this weird thing. And honestly, like, of all the anomalies, the track Friday night would have told me that we wouldn't have had an invader because it was a racy racetrack where
right.
I'm not saying these other guys didn't earn it, but sometimes with those opening day tracks, it's a day show. It can be cold and windy. You end up with sort of a one lane deal. It's hard to pass, and you get a guy in the front. So, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better scenario for Williams Grove to have an opener that way. Get your asses to the racetrack. I don't care.
We witnessed, and you couldn't even tell. I had no clue until heat races were almost over. We had a new track record.
I didn't know the time trials. I missed the format.
It was like group time trials and hot laps. I guess because it was a Yellow Breeches race, and
have they done that before that way?
Yeah,
hot lap. That's like a BAPS thing. I didn't know the Grove did that with the 410s. They may have last year with the Breeches, but I don't know if I remember that.
Yeah, I don't. They timed against their group, their heat. They were already in their heat, and they timed to get. But either way, TJ Stutz broke Shane Stewart's record from a couple years ago. He ran like a 16:081. Something like that. And just I don't know if they will officially count it because it wasn't single car time trials. But either way, that's bad fast.
So we were in the pits, before the race there, and I think might have been Kody. We were talking to Kody Hartlaub, and they measured the air, and it was like perfect air for making power. Mm-hmm. Temperature, air pressure, humidity, everything was right. I'm not a motor guy. I don't know any of that, but whatever these tools use for these guys to measure, fuel, said it was perfect air for it. And obviously the track was heavy because it stayed pretty good all night. So, and I know TJ can time trial. We've seen that before. Yeah. So pretty cool for sure. I hope it's in the record books. I hope it stays because that's bad fast.
Yeah. But whoever's at Williams Grove doing their social media, you could have got a better picture, man.
Yeah. Was
the picture that everyone was going around at TJ. He just looks so sad.
Was he getting arrested? Was that a mugshot?
Yeah. Especially with like the brown, I don't know what you call the filter. It just looks,
yeah. It was like he got the time trial record, but then they told him it didn't count because it was group, and that was his face. Or like, hey, you broke the track record, but you were 2.5 pounds light at the scales. Like, we could just meme the crap out of that. Like, what happens when you win the track record, but then this happens and you get that face? Like, they picked that picture.
I know. Or they could at least just got a picture of his car.
Right. Do you have that? If
I got
hasn't seen this. Jimmy's going to try to find it. Comment. Sean Keene. Hello from Keene Motorsports. Dakota and Sean working our asses off. Kyle's barking orders. That sounds about right. Usually, though, I'll be honest. Like seeing Dakota work is a rare sight. Usually, I see him kneeling down on the the trailer door thing. He's just kneeling down, staring at the car. Makes it look like he's an intellectual and thinking about the changes he's going to make. But I don't know what's really going on in that head. So,
hold on, I'm about to find it.
You find it?
Almost. Hold on. There
it's
it
worth
is.
The wait, everybody.
Hold on, I'm gonna share my screen here.
Worth the wait. TJ Stutz, your new track record holder, and that's the picture.
That's the picture.
How many? What's the look? It's got 13,800 impressions, and that is the There it is. I'm actually gonna screenshot and meme that and put it on our T2T and actually do a meme contest. Caption this: you break the track record, and they tell you it doesn't count because it's group, qualifying. So anyway,
it was a 16.089. I was a couple.
There you go.
Thousands off.
A couple thousands. So. Pretty good from memory. 358 feature, we kind of talked about it. Cody Fletcher takes home the win. Good race there. I think that started off obviously multiple lanes. I think it moved down at the end, especially in 1 and 2. I wasn't looking at 3 and 4 at all there, but it definitely moved down in 1 and 2. It was starting to get too far out around in 1 and 2. Just watching, some guys kept trying it at the end. Hammaker tried it at the end. Strickler tried like hell for a while, and he had to end up moving down. But 358s, they are momentum, but at the same time, there was enough grip on the bottom that you just had to take the bottom. You had to move down. And by the end, it was pretty much everybody on the bottom. So good. I just got a text from the Keen shop here. See who was sitting there and who wasn't. Oh, no. I don't know. Dakota might be, let me.
Does he have a wrench in his hand?
No. Sean might have been right, Kyle's sitting around barking orders. See if Jimmy can put it on screen here.
Yeah, hold on. I got it. Hold on. There it is.
There's Kyle sitting down on the phone. I don't know how is he on the phone? If he's on the phone, I want to know how he got signal in there. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, that's not something I found when I was there.
But no, good feature there too. It was cool to see Cody win. I've been watching Cody run that division for a long time, and he did his job. Fletcher did a good job there. Derek Locke second, got by Cody there at the late stages of that one, and we expect Derek Locke to be a factor at Williams Grove no matter what. So he got the second there, and it took a while. I'll be honest, it took a while to get to Kody Hartlaub and get by him. So good top 3 there, and 2 friends of the show for sure.
Yep.
We'll have to try to get some contacts to Cody Fletcher, maybe get him on here sometime.
Absolutely. Those both features were great, especially for when they set the track record and for how cold it was. I really didn't think that track was going to widen out, but it got slick enough. So props to them on the track prep. It really it made it racy. I wish I think in the summertime that it gets even wider because it would be a little bit drier. But so that's makes me hopeful for this year for some racing. It wasn't exactly one lane. Even in the feats, you had some movers, so that was pretty cool.
We also had a little bit more drama. Probably should talk about quickly. Jeff Halligan. And Mark Smith.
I totally missed all that.
So I, fortunately or unfortunately, I was on a hauler in the middle of 3 and 4 and got witness to the entire scenario there. And unfortunately, listen, I don't have favorites in a sense in that case, but Halligan just sort of cleaned him out, misjudged where he was. Don't really know, but it was for a non-transfer spot in a heat race on the last lap. I believe it was for 7th place.
Yeah.
And it's not like all these drivers and teams have an abundance of cars sitting around to go and race every weekend. So it was pretty unfortunate. And tempers flared a little bit for sure. There was where are we at here? Tempers flared a little bit for sure, both on track and off. And, Mark Smith is a fairly quiet guy. Get out of the car, definitely, kind of showed his displeasure a little bit to Jeff there. And then the team, they drug Jeff's car right by the 19 hauler in the pits. And the team then showed their displeasure a little bit. So, I was happy to see the 19 get the car back together and run Port Royal Saturday. Halligan was able to continue, got through the B main into the A there. So little drama there. Hopefully that doesn't continue for both those teams and, they can move on from it. But definitely some hurt feelings Friday night. And listen, there were some torn up race cars. That track lended itself a little bit, be pretty narrow until the end there. Austin Bishop tore up a race car. pretty hard fashion. I believe made contact with the inside fence off of 4. Tore up that car pretty good. So hopefully everybody's back out and getting going again as we move forward. I think he had a good run Saturday, actually, in the 35 up at Port. So
sorry, I'm trying to get this picture that you sent up, but it will not. Hold on, I got it.
So I guess
I have to share my screen for it, and it's not letting me. Damn, hey, the picture's too big to upload.
Let's see here. Did that work?
Oh, yep.
So that was sort of the end result. Like I said, Jeff was able to kind of continue after got towed in, ran the B main. Unfortunately, Mark and his team was not able to get going. The Rutherford car just not super happy with each other at the end of that one. So, but let's move on to Saturday. Tell us about your day at Port. I mean, you had a ton of cars. What was the car count?
It was me and you, we split between Lincoln and Port. I went to Port on Saturday. 27 410s, 41 super lates, and 41 305s. The pits were absolutely jam-packed. It was good to see. And the track was nice. I mean, in the heats, the late models were ripping. Some of those guys were ripping the fence. But the 410 show, Devin Borden was really he kind of came out, made some waves. He had a little bit of a different looking car that took some people have noticed, but he was fast. So Justin Will started on the pole of the feature. He got out to a really sizable lead and then lap traffic. It let Lance DeWeese and Devin Borden catch up. Lance is running a little bit lower most of the time, as Lance does. Borden ripping the fence. And they had a spirited battle after they got around Whittle, after they caught him in lap traffic. It was a caution-free race, caution-free, feature. And Board just ripped the top around him the one time and was gone. He had steel balls right there.
I watched some of the highlights, and the movie made all 4 around Lance was impressive.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm telling you, man, that track, when there's something to lean on the top and you have Lance running the bottom, when those guys hit the top right and you pull away from Lance DeWeese by 20 car lengths off one corner,
mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable. It's like a pinball speed boost off the top there. And, they don't hit it. If you hit it that good every lap, you'd never lose a race, but you can't. It's difficult to do.
Yep.
It's difficult to do, and Macri and Borden, and you can see Logan Wagner and Brent and Peck, and some of those guys who are really good at it. They can't do it perfectly every lap either. But man, that one in the highlights when he ripped that off of 2 and just was gone. Like out of a cannon.
He caught up to him real quick. It was fun because Lance had the lead for a while as they're going through lap traffic for a couple laps after they finally got around Whittle, Lance was running gave Lance an advantage to actually be running the bottom because a lot of guys were drifting up high, getting in Borden's way. But like you're saying, that when they had clean track in between them and Borden ran that top, man, he would gain an entire corner coming out of 2. It was insane. But Lance did a good job of a couple laps just blocking his entry to not let him get too good of a run off at 3 and 4, but he couldn't hold him off the entire time, and he was just a guy on a mission. Speaking of Logan Wagner, he was a noticeable no-show, so that was a little interesting for sure. We know that team's probably going to scale back there. From what we heard, it's probably going to scale back a little bit, but second, third race of the season to already not be there. I don't know what their deal was. I'm just saying, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to defend that title, I would say, because Borden's probably going to just go and grab. If he runs like this all year, I don't know if there's going to be anybody that can.
We've talked about it. We've talked to him. The way he finished the season off in that 23 and the way the speed that they showed and the way he started this season, I mean, we all talked about it. Double-digit wins is in reality, no matter what track it is. I think that it's been pretty consistently fast everywhere they've been, and it suits Port seems to suit his driving style, whatever his driving style is going to be. But it's a really fast one. That's what I know. And the car's under him, and they're giving him good equipment and a good car, and he's making the best of it. So
yeah,
it's entertaining.
So I mean, with Logan, he won the past 5 championships there, and he was always really good, but he only won a couple races. He was just always consistently up there, always fast. Won multiple races, of course. But the last time there was a really dominant driver there was when Brock Zierfoss won it. Ironically, with Shuttlesworth as his crew chief. So maybe we're going to see that again here with Borden. So because it's giving me those vibes, because that's how Brock won. He ripped off like 6 straight there one year, and gave a couple away. The Outlaw race, Labor Day Classic, he gave a couple away after he dominated them. So, and it was all ripping the top, and just being able to run that perfectly up there. So they definitely got over there. They definitely got something figured out about that place. And, when you got a wheelman like Devin behind the wheel, they're going to be a force to be. Obviously, we talked about not just at Port, but all over PA. So, and then the late model feature, Jeff Satterley won. Greg Satterley, Jesus. So, I did want to point out I'm starting to get more. I'm not a big late model guy, but I am starting to get more involved. I don't want to say involved, but
you're starting to become more familiar with the names and the stories of people.
Yes. And, and so Dylan Yoder or Andrew Yoder.
There's like 9 of them.
Yeah, Andrew. But Andrew Yoder's the one that his trailer caught on fire last week.
Correct. Yep.
Finished 8th out of 41 late models after everything that happened last week. Finished 8th. Same car. You could definitely tell it was the same car that was in the fire, just with a different front clip on. Shout out to them. Shout out to everybody that helped them. I know we've shared the link to the GoFundMe. You don't want to see that happen. And it's, this is what happens when the racing community comes together and helps out a fellow competitor, and has a good 8th place finish, and he looked fast, and it's just a great feature. Another caution-free feature, I believe, and I don't remember one. So yeah, it was just overall great night at Port. And then the 305s, I left a little bit early because it was getting really cold. But there was all the 305 racing was really good as well. So
yeah, and the 305, shout out to those guys. Got to know some of those a lot, the last couple of years, as Kyle was in that division. Our buddy, friend of the show, Kyle Keen Motorsports, was definitely, give me 1 second here. The Eschenauer car.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, he's going to be pissed at me because I forgot his damn name.
Spar.
Logan Spar. Thank you.
Yep.
Got to know Logan a little bit here the last couple of years, and some connections with the sponsor and a guy I worked with at Bob Ruth, and kind of knows that group a little bit. And I watched Logan improve the last couple of years, and he won one of the last race of the year at Port, their special race, and then comes out and wins at opening day. And I know Kenny Hefner and a couple of those guys in that division, and 41 cars to show up at Port in 305s in a very competitive division. To get a win against that crowd is very impressive. So I was super happy for those guys, and definitely going to keep an eye on that division this year. Definitely some friends that people I've gotten to know a little bit over the last couple of years. So looking forward to see how that season goes for all those guys. And listen, there's only one winner every weekend, and there's a lot of good race cars in that division. So it's going to be super fun to watch. But Lincoln, Saturday night, 2-division show. Very fast track, very fast racetrack, very heavy, very narrow. Saw some more torn up race cars, unfortunately, from some mistakes, some tough driving. Fred Putney did an amazing job. It had a big curb off of 4. There was actually, the cushion wasn't on the wall, so there was actually like a cushion, and then there was like a big patch of like don't go up here dirt. It was super fun to watch. There was a bunch of wheel sands off of 4 all night. Very racy racetrack. Kyle Moody gets it done. First time since 2019. Did what he had to do. It was very much one of those races where like the first best car to the lead wins. and not to take anything away from Glendon or even the 23, because he kind of got the first initial start. By the way, we had an open red by lap 4, so to tell you how that race started. It was a little rough getting going, but the 23 took the lead. Actually, the initial start, he was on the pole and lost the lead, and then they got a red flag or a caution and took off with the lead on the second start. Glendon kind of ran him down, passed him, and then Kyle picked through traffic and got to the lead first, which was probably a huge benefit for Kyle because Chase Dietz was hauling ass, and he was coming. And they had a caution late. Kyle had clean air there at the end and did everything he needed to do and held on for the win. Chase Dietz was second. And who ran third?
Billy Dietrich.
Oh, BDB. Old
Billy Dietrich.
Billy Dietrich with a podium. So looking forward to seeing the YouTube this week on that. So I'm sure he's going to be thrilled. But a good race and, not without more drama. So –
yeah, what happened?
Okay. So I got lucky. I was standing off exit of 4 in the infield, and that seemed to be like I could tell the way the track was going that's where I kind of wanted to be. Unfortunately, there weren't a jam-packed house at Lincoln, and I could kind of move around in the infield and take shots and photos from wherever I wanted to stand. Get your asses to the track because I watched this firsthand right in front of me. There aren't rumors that need to go around. I know what happened, and I watched it with my own 2 eyes. So, unfortunately, the race wasn't on flow. So what comes out of the track then is people hopping on social media and hopping on their cell phones and telling their buddies what happened.
Everybody's got their biased opinion, too.
Right.
Especially when it's two of the most polarizing fan bases.
Their favorite doesn't do wrong, right?
Right.
Because I watched the internet, and I watched that stories come out about what happened from 3 different angles. The 23 angle, the 8 angle, and the 48 angle. And they all have their favorites, and they can just make excuses and or fabricate it in the way that makes their person not look like they did anything wrong. But I'll tell you what happened. It's pretty easy and clear cut to me. The 48 was ahead of the 8 and the 23, and jumped the cushion. He jumped the cushion in 3 and 4 on exit of 4, got the car settled, sort of. Gassed it up, did a wheel stand out of the big heavy dirt, down across 4, right into Freddie's path, and Freddie had nowhere to go, clipped his left rear, spun around. The 23 then was coming through off the bottom, had nowhere to go because Freddie then came down to the inside wall, clipped him, tore up his car, tore up Freddie's car, and they both ended up on the hook. 48, no damage, moved on, I think finished 5th, I want to say. But simply put, Danny jumped the cushion, came down across, saved his race car. With the 2 front tires off the ground, 3 or 4 feet, you can't steer it real well. And he just stayed in it and said, I'm going to keep going here. So you can't plan that. You can't target something.
I think something like that. I don't think he's saying, I'm just going to stay on it because Freddie's coming. I don't think you're thinking of that.
But listen, if you're a Danny fan or a Freddie fan, it was done on purpose. Right? Like, that's just the way it goes. Now I'll say this and this is just, I'm not going to do a fire off here, but I'm going to say this is the thoughts I had after this. I caught the whole thing. I'm not putting the whole thing on the internet. I'm not doing it. I know what happened. I saw it. It's for me. And it's for anyone else that I want to show. I could put it out there and show everybody what happened, but get your ass to the racetrack so you can see what happened.
Yep.
There's a reason Flo isn't there. And where were all the people Saturday night? Get your ass to the racetrack and watch the racing. You don't have to then make up the drama or the rumors on Facebook about what really happened or what you thought happened or what you heard happened from your drunk friend who wasn't paying attention, okay? Who didn't see a replay on the board.
Drunk friend down at the entry of turn 1 who only saw.
Who heard about it from their friend who was a friend of a friend who knows that works at the racetrack, okay? Get your asses to the racetrack and you won't have to hear about the internet drama. You can make up the internet drama after you see it and then make your claim of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, go to the racetrack.
But most people outside of who didn't go to Lincoln, I'd even hear about it. If it wasn't for you, I haven't seen a thing about it.
And then here's where I'll go the next step on this. The tracks need to do a better job of somehow stepping around this, but also saying, here's what's going on at our racetrack.
Right. Finding that middle ground.
Here's what's going on at our racetrack, and you may want to get here and watch this unfold because there could be more of it, Are you a fan? Why aren't you here? Get your ass to the racetrack. Because that's promotion, period. Good, bad, or indifferent, that's promotion. The dirt station had some highlights of the race, and those highlights are fine. But it didn't tell the whole story.
And I didn't see them until today, 2 days after.
2 days after, right? But if I didn't catch it, and a few of the people in the infield did catch it, or the people in the stand saw it, they're going to promote the next race for that track, or should the track do it? Now, I don't know if the track did or didn't, but I haven't seen much that said, hey, here's what happened at the track. You call what happened, right? Why would they not play on that? Like, that's what sells tickets.
Yeah.
Now, listen, I'm super happy the 99 won that race. It was a great story. Kyle Pruitt and him, they make a good group. And I'm not taking it away from them because it was an emotional win, and you could hear it in Kyle's voice. If you do, honestly, my ticket that I paid to get in was worth hearing Kyle's interview. Okay. But I'm telling you, that doesn't always just sell tickets for everybody. Okay. It was a great story, and I'm a fan of the sport. I'm a fan. I will show up. But the casual fan who's like, oh, the crashes and whatever. Yeah, they're uneducated and they're stupid, and it costs a lot of money to race these race cars. But it does put asses in the seats.
Right.
The drama put asses in the seats, right?
Well,
If
even
you're a race fan at heart, just like NASCAR, I want to see a tire wear battle, and I want to see them slipping and sliding, and I'm a little old school that way. But that's not what you see on TV when they promote the race.
Mm-hmm.
They don't promote tire wear and skill and out-of-control cars. They promote crashes and fights and drama.
They get the people into the seats first by getting that lowest common denominator type of what people want to see, and then you build upon that and turn them into a true race fan.
Right.
Yeah.
Then the 99 story carries a lot more weight to even the casual fan, because if you were a casual fan and you listen to that interview, you're like, damn, I could root for that guy.
Right.
But who was there? There wasn't enough people there to watch that, and it's a shame.
Yeah.
And then all we wanted to talk about was the bullshit that kind of happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the rumor mill because of the stuff that happened that not enough people saw.
Right. If I didn't talk to you, obviously, and a couple other people that were there, and maybe that's part of that working, but I would have never have known.
Right.
I watched those dirt station highlights today, but you didn't see the thing with Danny there, and I don't think I saw Kyle's interview. So just kind of
it shouldn't be up to me or any other fan in there to promote the racing or the stories coming out of the track.
Right. I mean, you hope word of mouth kind of helps, but it's not your job. You know what I mean?
I'm passionate enough to tell you, but it's not my responsibility as a paying fan to promote the track for them.
Right. So I think the idea is they have to find the middle ground here, because here's the thing. All right, I get it. Don't want to do flow for all the weekly races because it's hurting attendance. Got it. You have that big video screen in the middle that you pay people to put video up on that board during the race anyway. So find a middle ground to be able to be like, hey, here's what just happened at the track, or here's what happened tonight. Here's the highlights from tonight.
Yep.
Or, even during the race, or, whatever. I mean, I understand it's hard. I don't know everything that goes on, but that just seems you got to find the middle ground. You got to find the middle ground there, because if not, you're just going to get the same however many people that you're getting there every week. And it's not going to bring in any more. Maybe not. If the racing's that good, it won't bring in any less. But
and then the next step, I see the 48 announcers are running Port this weekend.
Yep.
You get ready for some other races. So what if the 48's gone and he has a diehard fan base and they don't go to Lincoln and they follow him to Port? What's going to draw people to Lincoln Speedway this weekend?
I don't know. The Freddie fans?
Promotion. What are we doing? Right? Because none of these guys, there's very few guys at the top of the sport in Central PA that are tied to a racetrack every weekend, right? Brent does his own thing. Anthony's doing his own thing on Saturday nights. He's traveling. He's here and there. He switches between Lincoln and Port. More Port, really, than Lincoln at this point. Danny is willing to, saying, hey, I'm going to go up to Port this week and get ready for a big Port race.
Yeah, because the Spring Thaw or whatever is the weekend after. That's one of the bigger paying races here to start the season.
That's right. I would love for the 99 to be the story. I would love for the 8 to be the story, or he's already the story. But the 99, Billy Dietrich. I mean, you imagine Billy Dietrich winning the race next weekend, and there's not there, and it'd be a damn shame if there weren't enough people there to watch it, because it will be one of the more popular wins you've seen in a long time. Or Alan Crimes in 27. Some of those things at that track need to be promoted and celebrated, and not enough people were watching it, and that I think just falls on their shoulders to do a better job.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just go do some comments here. We have Ashley Capetta in here saying I was happy for both Kyle and Kody. Shout out to Ashley too. I saw she made her season debut, right?
Yep. Good looking race car.
Yeah. Tyler Moody, couldn't be more proud of that 99M team. Very humble race team. It was a very emotional win for sure. And then Alex Robinson. Hello, Alex Robinson. Hello. I know you guys
got a race in.
Bridgeport there. The announcer for Bridgeport, Alex Robinson, finally got in some racing. So congratulations to you guys there. Nick Lowe. Agree with Jay-Z. Kyle's interview is worth the price to get in. And, I think that's kind of what we're saying. Like, if you want people to come next week, show me that. Just you could have. I don't know. It's a hairy situation. It's not easy. And Jaden Wolf. What's going on, Jaden Wolf? Thanks for tuning in.
Jaden got the car out this weekend, made some laps. It was good to see him out. Got his algebra scores up. But he was able to get to the racetrack. It was good to see Jaden this weekend and the family. So he was doing Jaden Wolf things and just wheeling the shit out of that race car. So look forward to see what he comes up with this season for sure. And speaking of 358s, Kody Hartlaub just had him on the show, won that race. And like I said, it was one of those 358 races that never felt like it was in question once he took the lead. Even with the great cars around in that field, I never felt like, man, I hope he holds on. He was strong from start to finish, and he was strong all night from start to finish. Great field of cars, 34 10s and 33 58s. And really, there were a couple 358s missing that were not there. Kyle Keene wasn't there. Yep. They're fighting a little bit of a gremlin in their car, so they're getting that worked out. And Chase Gutshaw wasn't there. They're getting prepared for the next weekend. And, there's still a few cars that weren't out yet, but you were close, Phil. There's weekends I think you're going to see in the mid-30s for 358s, depending how many cars get torn up. There was a couple big ones this weekend again. Justin Foster and Nat Tuckey.
That was nasty.
That was an ugly one. That was on the highlights of the Dirt Station highlights. If you haven't seen that from Lincoln Speedway, that was a little scary, to be honest. I was in 1 and 2, watched that one happen through my eyes. I started with the camera, and then I let the camera down because I kind of get blocked a little bit. And I watched that one happen. I ran over the fence to make sure that not that I could do anything because I'm in the infield, but thankfully they were both okay. But their cars were junk, just big junk. So hopefully get those guys back out to the racetrack soon. But a good race, great surface. Cushion was big in 1 and 2, and they're a great racetrack all the way around. I saw Fred Putney in Victory Lane. Shout out, by the way. He's a big fan of the show. Yeah. Appreciate you, liking this stuff and being a part of it, Fred. Yeah. We're standing in Victory Lane, and he's like, great track tonight. Somebody commented, and he goes, yeah, it's going to be 85 degrees next weekend. I'm going to go from, 45 to 85 in a week. Yep. And the challenges that presents to a racetrack are immense. And, if it's sunny in 85, if it's dry in 85, if it's windy, if it's I can't even imagine the challenges and watching what he's done here the last 3 or 4 years. There was a couple year gap where it was like, I wasn't sure. The last couple of years have been just outstanding. So the track prep crew at Lincoln couldn't have done a better job here lately. Shout out to them and everything, all the work they put in to put on a great show for us, because that's what it's about.
Yeah, I will say nobody preps tracks better in the country than the big three here in PA. I know Williams Grove gets some shit sometimes.
They do, but honestly,
they don't deserve it.
Years have been very good.
Yeah,
there's been a few. Every track has a few races you're like,
it's gonna happen.
Man, honestly, it's been very good the last couple of years at Williams Grove. Highly, highly underrated and underappreciated for some of the surfaces that they have put out the last couple of years.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's what we saw this weekend. The World of Outlaws. We'll get into that, I guess, a little bit. But just kind of saw highlights since we were at the track. But Sheldon Hansfield won Friday on that. Those highlights was at US 34.
36.
30-something speedway. There's
There's
so
36
many
maybe
speedways out. Listen,
They're named after a road. Just give them a name.
yes, please. There's 84, 81, 80.
Yeah.
There's 34, 36, 30. Like, just name
give
it something.
Yeah.
Give me
Name it something other than the highway
please.
fund. What a race! Those highlights were incredible.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
that was cool. Like,
Yeah.
elbows up. It was a very, like, when I heard Sheldon won and I went and saw the highlights, I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It was like a track made for Sheldon Hansfield. Like,
Absolutely.
it was like if Sheldon had a game and he was able to create a dirt track, that would be the one.
Mhm.
It was super cool and good for him to finish one off and not
Yep.
find a way to lose one.
On his dad's birthday, too.
On his dad's birthday, so that was pretty cool for sure. And then we moved on to Saturday night at 81 US 80.
Was it 81?
84 Lumber,
Jesus.
Sunoco 93 octane, something.
One of those tracks, Rico Abreu, with his second Outlaw win of the year. Shout out Rico, that starting the season off hot. This is probably the best he's ever started off in a sprint car.
I mean, big races.
Yeah, yeah. So, shout out to him. That's all I really know. I mean, the highlights and everything. Sounds like I think the point lead now has changed twice over the weekend.
Yep.
It was Brad Sweet, and then it was Macedo, and now is it back to Sweet, or maybe I think it's gravel now. So
Maybe. I don't even know.
I don't know. It's going to change hands a million times here the way it's going. There's
I'm
a lot
here
of
for it.
parity up there. Yeah.
I'm here for it.
So yeah. So Outlaws, there you go. All Stars got rained out at Attica.
And
Unfortunately,
they spread out like cockroaches across the country.
Yeah.
They all went east, west, north. I saw some of IRA. I saw some are going out. They went out west.
Yeah.
They
I think
all
Hunter
went
Sherber went IRA.
Yep. It came in. And then, oh, by the way, check out their socials. They had trailer catch on fire.
Yeah. I guess Rico was looking for children's race shirts because I guess Hunter's kids lost all their clothes, which is unfortunate. So if you can go check out Rico's social media, he has an address up there. If you guys can give anything to that, help them out. That's not easy for a team that's trying to travel the country like that to go.
A lot of travel,
especially when you have two young kids going on the road with you like that. That's got to be tough.
Yeah, for sure. What do we got tomorrow night? High Limit.
High Limit. There's 56 cars and the
56.
Yeah, and
what do you know about this track?
Shane, is this Shane Stewart's? No, this isn't Shane Stewart's track. He's just a promoter for this, I think. But Lakeside, yes, Lakeside. I'm trying to find.
What do you know about it? What are the specs on this thing? 3/8, half mile, quarter mile. What are we doing here?
It's a good question. I don't really know.
But yeah, projected 56 cars. They kind of put out the roster. Not too many surprises that we didn't know. Like nobody. There's a few in there that I'm like, okay, got it. But man, if they get that many cars,
So this is the first time we're really going to see which one of the Outlaws are going to use.
Well, did you see the roster? Did you see it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like all of them. All the big Outlaws are there.
You got Shoehart Gravel, Baston,
Sweet.
Sweet. I'm just going down the Donnie Schatz, Carson Macedo, Sheldon Hansfield, Giovanni Scelzi, just to name a few there. Who? What's that?
Casey's on that roster as well.
Yes. Casey's running. I think that's all the Outlaws. Yes, that is all the Outlaws. So
like all of them.
All of them except for Jacob Allen. I don't see Brock Searfoss.
Bill Rose.
No Bill Rose.
Noah Gass.
Danny's
in that car.
But really, Noah Gass's car is really going to be kind of Danny's car. So
it's a new car, and they're going to number 48, but it's their team, yeah.
Yeah. But a couple other notables. Ian Madsen making his season debut, it looks like, in the 2KS. You're going to have Ayrton Jeniton. Tim Schaefer in the 3TK. That's the one I just noticed. Cole Macedo in the 14. Zeb Wise, which when he came east, I'm like, there's no way he's going to go back out there.
Friday to Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, if funny
he ran
story,
Saturday to Tuesday because he ran Port.
Yeah. So, funny story. I was doing my pit walk pre-race at Port Royal, and Zeb just got done doing pill draw, and I was, taking a picture for the socials, and I heard him say to his crew guy, "Never guess which pill I drew. 26." I'm
No
like,
way.
man, he's gonna win, but he ended up getting third that night. So good for him. Macri didn't run it all this weekend because he already made his way out there. I guess
He ran Friday night.
he ran Friday night, but he didn't run anywhere Saturday.
Yep.
He will be out there, of course. Brian Brown, Brady Bacon, Scott Bogutski, Austin McCarl, and Carson McCarl. There's a couple of names I've never heard of here. They might be local drivers. Brett Becker.
Yep. He's
Connor.
a Midwest guy.
I've heard
I've seen that name when they travel, like the Outlaws and things.
Frank Rogers, Brendan Mullen,
That's
Blake
Midwest
Feast,
guy as well. Yep.
Tim Estenson. And these are just pre-entered cars. There could be guys that show up and make this 65, 70 cars. You never know.
Which is insane.
Yeah. I don't know what the weather looks like. So, but I feel like if they're already pre-entered like this, and the nice thing, I guess, about doing it on Tuesdays, they probably have like a Wednesday rain date kind of built in. So you have a good shot of getting this in with all the cars there.
Right.
And
you're not up against a window for people to get out of town and have to go where they need to go.
Right. So hell of a roster here, plus all the full-time guys that are there, going after that points title for the high limit series. So cool. Yeah, so there's that high limit Tuesday on Flow. And then next weekend, at least in PA, we got another 3-day week. We got Williams Grove, Lincoln and Port, and then BAPS on Sunday. So,
and everybody, if you know Brett Perigo, if you know who that is, friend of the show, he's on the intro. Wingless Super Sportsmen are at BAPS on Sunday. And right now, he's saying, I don't know, get his ass to BAPS. I got to see this guy race. Like, he got to figure out a way to get to BAPS. I mean, I'm gonna go
to 3 races this week.
Do I have to pay his pit passes? Like, what's it gonna take?
Because I wasn't gonna go to. I'm like, man, because next weekend you got Williams Grove. I'm trying to get to the Bloomsburg opener, and then you got everything else. So race season's here now. It went from 0 to 100 real quick. Especially with the way the weather's looking this week. It's going to be mid 80s. The track's going to be dry, slick, dusty. Which will make for great racing, I think, everywhere. Hopefully it doesn't rubber up at BAPS. Is it going to be BAPS night race? I would hope.
6, no.
Yeah, 6 o'clock.
I think it's cooler Sunday, though.
Yeah, but still, 6 o'clock's late enough. I mean, I'm just meant like it's not going to start at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
No, they're starting to get, even on a Sunday, they'll never be 8 o'clock on a Sunday night, but they're, usually 6 o'clock. What is the Sunday? 78 degrees, but cloudy with late night rain and 63 the next day. So we're just going to miss the cold front.
You might have to move it up, maybe.
Cloudy, very warm with time. Looks like you might get some clouds. If they can get some clouds throughout the day there, hold some moisture, maybe. And I
avoid a repeat of last time.
I can't imagine in any world that BAPS allows that to happen again. They're going to do everything in their power to not have that happen again. The challenge that BAPS always has, in my opinion, is that they run a full show Saturday night. They have to turn around and run another show Sunday when the 410s are there.
Mm-hmm.
Or another, usually Sunday, whenever they run on Sunday, it's a 410 show. But they flip it from a 4 or 5 division show on Saturday night and flip it to run a Sunday night. That's a challenge. I think it is. So anyway, I'm not a track guy, but I would assume that brings along with some challenges and late nights and, and guessing on the weather and things. So,
which is something that, like, when we're talking about Williams Grove, they have to do that multiple times a year with the Outlaws, and Port Royal does it a lot on their 2-day shows, and we'll see how Lincoln does this year with some 2-day shows. So, but yeah, I do think that is something that is probably something that goes under the radar when they have to do a 2-day show like that. They're up late at night, early in the morning, working on that track. Your track workers are there for like 48 hours just working on that thing the whole time.
Right. And in Central PA, how often do we have 2 days in a row that are the same? So who knows, the challenges that presents back-to-back nights with the weather and, what those guys do. And they're definitely they're a lot like a head coach in football where they get all the credit. They get none of the credit when it's a good one, and they get all the hate when it's a bad track. So it's definitely an underappreciated art when they get it right. So always want to thank any those crews. Not that they're going to hear this, but whatever. What else is going on, man?
I'm trying to see. I can't remember where the Outlaws are. They are at I-55 this week. 2-day show there. Oh, and then they go to Knoxville after that. So it's getting us when we start going to those type of tracks. We start having 3-4 day weeks of racing. We are in the meat of the season, almost the meat of the season. Well, we're not even touching the tip yet, really. But yeah,
just the tip.
Just the tip.
Okay.
Just the tip.
But super happy with like personally, like I'm just thrilled when I get done and I race somewhere and I can turn on Dirt Vision and watch the Outlaw feature.
Yes.
When they're on the East Coast, it's a lot harder because like I'm still at the track when they're racing, it's over. But when they're an hour behind, man, I was like, cool, I got to watch the feature. I came home Saturday night, Lincoln started at 6 and 2 divisions. It took a little while still, like I said, an open red at lap 4. But
I was impressed because I went to Port and me and you were talking. I'm like, oh, they're pushing off for motor heat already. And you're like, I didn't even leave my house yet to go to Lincoln. And then I'm like, all right, we're finally finishing B mains, going to A mains. And you're like, oh, we're already
pushing out the A.
But end up finishing about the same time. I mean, also, Port had over 100 cars.
They had 100
and an extra division.
And 100 total cars. So,
yeah.
Port always does a nice job of keeping their stuff moving. And
yeah, they did a good job.
We didn't have big wheel races at Lincoln because it was Easter weekend. So intermission was big wheel races. Now, and again, that didn't take forever, though, honestly. It was pretty cool. It's always a little entertaining when they have enough kids. There was a couple of years where they didn't get very many kids. There was a lot of kids there. So that was pretty cool. It was encouraging to see. And, super neat. Did you see the highlights, by the way, of the BAPS Easter egg hunt? Did you see that video of that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, my God. There were eggs and kids everywhere. It was cool. If you all go to the BAPS Motor Speedway social media page and check out the little Easter egg hunt that they did. That was a really cool event. BAPS does a great job with promoting non-racing events at their racetrack and pulling them off and doing them. They have a great team of people doing events at the racetrack, and it's very family oriented. They don't draw the 410s every weekend. They have 602 crates, and they have extreme stocks and street stocks and super sportsmen and extreme stocks and street stocks. Wow, I can't say all that, but they don't have these premier Central PA divisions that we're all accustomed to in our chat and our group, but they are very much a family-oriented Saturday night racetrack. Come see some great racing and bring the family along.
Yep.
BAPS does a great job with that, so shout out to them, and that was a cool video for sure.
Cool. All-Stars go to Attica. I don't know if that's rescheduled or if this was original.
I think it is.
I think it's rescheduled.
They were just supposed to be there.
Yeah, so back-to-back. Because the next scheduled race is until May for them. They have a really spread out schedule.
I mean, All-Stars at Attica with the locals, they could have 45 cars.
Oh, easily. Yeah, for sure.
Right? Because they haven't even raced out there. They haven't raced anywhere. Well, they did Atomic.
Atomic's raced twice now, I think. But
Atomic? Yeah.
Yeah. So
they've gotten a little bit of racing in, and some of the guys have actually come in and raced with us. Like, we didn't see George Hoball this year. Usually we see him early. He's come in a couple times, like a Port.
Carl Bowser was at Port on Saturday, which I was a little bit surprised.
He's made a few trips in here and there, and we've seen a few. We had a Sean Rahal was in here at Williams Grove Friday night. That was a good looking car, by the way. That 19. I got a cool picture of that thing under the bridge with the light and the shadow. That was super neat to catch that, and it was actually in focus because that was a shitty night. So it was pretty cool. But it was good to see that car there, and they survived the night, I believe. Pretty neat for sure.
So yeah, Friday at Williams Grove, 3 sprint car divisions. You got 410s, the USAC East Coast wingless 360s, and the past 305 sprints.
I gotta go there.
That's a kind of like their version of like what Port would call their
sprint cars.
Yeah, their
sprint. What do they call that? Sprint car spectacular
or something madness.
Is it?
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah, that
that thing, and then Port Royal on Saturday they have their Australian Pursuit late model race, limited late models and 410s, and then Lincoln, of course, has 410s, 358s.
Open wheel madness. That's what it's called.
Yeah, open wheel madness. That's it. Thank you, Smith. So that's what's going on this week. And then, like
Thank
you
you,
said,
chat. I don't know who that is. That person's dead to me. Open Wheel Madness. That's what it is. Sorry, go ahead.
And then, like we were saying, BAPS Sunday will be 410s and wingless sportsmen.
Is that just 2 divisions on that one? Is that it?
I think.
Is it just 2? It usually is on Sunday nights. That's right. It usually is, yeah.
So, yep. And then, so can't wait. It was a great weekend of racing. Looking for more. When I saw the weather, I know it's going to be warm, but I'll take it. I can't wait to get out, get a little tan.
Get some sun with some warm weather sun, not windy.
Get some dirt in my beer and watch some sprint cars.
Hell yeah, man. I might have a couple beers this weekend. I haven't drank at the racetrack in a while.
Yeah, we a little bit on Friday at Williams Grove, and then
yeah, I heard.
So it was a good time though. We want to touch a little bit on Bristol Dirt.
Not really. Christopher Bell won. He's a dirt guy. Dirt guys rule.
Yep.
And hopefully that's the last year for it. I'm over it.
Yeah, I like having a dirt race because I think the best stock car racers in the planet should run the most diverse schedule that they can. But Bristol, they did a good job with the track this year.
Best surface they had in all the years they ran.
Absolutely.
Last night was the best surface.
Yeah, it was really good racing, I thought.
It was.
But it is what it is. NASCAR a little inconsistent with their yellows. Shocker, more penalties. That's the stuff that kind of takes the spotlight shouldn't instead of the racing that was there. And that's kind of what is going to destroy this Bristol dirt race probably in the end here. I would like to see them get to Eldora or another dirt track and keep a dirt track on the schedule, but we'll see. But yeah, it wasn't bad. Anything else?
Nope.
Do we do quick drink it or dump it?
Sure.
I guess I'll go first. I'm gonna go Chase Dietz as my drink it. He had a really good weekend. He almost had a podium on Friday. He looked really fast, and then and then second at Lincoln. And then my dump it. I don't know, man. I'll go Kyle Keene just because unfortunate turn of events for him this weekend. I know he was real hyped to run Williams Grove and then had some issues, and bummer for them for sure. And yeah, so that's mine. How about you?
Williams Grove for racing.
Hell yeah.
Drink it. Kyle Moody, Kody Hartlaub. I'm going to do a trifecta on that one because we talked about Kyle Moody and we talked to Kody, but Williams Grove for getting racing. They are trying to race everybody. The sky is not literally falling. I know it had, well, it kind of was, I guess. But that was pretty cool. It was good to be there. It was a good atmosphere, I think, overall. A lot of people, so I was happy about that. Dump it. You talked about Kyle a little bit there. It's part of racing. It sucks. He was super excited to get to Williams Grove. Felt pretty good after last weekend, getting the race car out and getting back going for sure. Would ruin the 2-race weekend for them. I think that, let's see. Obviously the family, the USAC family, Justin Owens and his family, we mentioned that earlier. That's a tough one to not talk about. We don't have that happen a lot in this business in our, what we love so much. And as many of the ones that never result in that, we should always feel very thankful because so many times it could and it doesn't. And unfortunately, this is one of the weekends that it didn't work out. So super tough for the USAC family. And, dumping out too, like all these transportation trailer truck fires and accidents. And I saw another one, not just Hunter. There was somebody else. I don't remember. I saw another one between Mike Wagner, they were able to make it. The Yoders, Schoenberg. There's been all kinds of weird transportation things going on at the beginning of the season, and this is the stuff that costs teams money that keeps them from racing.
Yes. Yep.
So, dump it to all that stuff. Hopefully that we don't want to continue that trend. We need race cars and to get to the racetrack. So we still have racetracks. So,
but drink it to the racing community in general for, Andrew Yoder was a perfect example of being able to step up and getting out to the track the next week with a new hauler and his car and everything intact and having a great run. So that's kind of what you could end up seeing. Smeel also says here, drink it to Zeb Wise. Shout out to him. Awesome job by him. And pour one out for rest in peace, Justin Owens. Yeah. So drink one to all you guys. We've been meeting more people at the track. People have been coming up to us. It's been really awesome to meet a lot of you. So keep doing that. Please make sure to, if you're watching this, listening to this, and you haven't given us a follow, please consider doing that. It does help us out. It really helps us figure out if we're doing the right thing and doing what you guys want to hear, because that's what we're here to do. And so, share all, like, comment, subscribe, all that type of stuff, ring the bell, the stuff that you hear all the time. But if you could just make sure you give us a follow, all that stuff really helps us. So
appreciate everybody.
Yeah.
Been very cool for sure. I've had people say hi to me that I'm like, I think I should know them, but maybe I don't. So, we appreciate everybody tuning in and we've gotten a lot of good feedback on it and, suggestions and things, but just talking about sport we love and we want to keep doing it and keep bringing this stuff to you. And as the race season gets going here, it's harder to get the drivers because we don't want to take time out of their getting ready for the next race. And they have real jobs and they have lives. So, try to keep it short and sweet during the season here. And if you have any suggestions, anybody you want to recommend, send them our way.
Absolutely.
Oh, and I'm going to call someone out, by the way. So, friend of the show, okay, Aunt Bay, who's the crew chief for the 00 358 car in Central PA for Kyle Spence. And Kyle is not one. He's not a talker apparently, and he said he doesn't want to do it. If you know Kyle, you need to peer pressure him.
Yes.
Have him on the show. We would love to have him and Ann on together as the first crew chief driver tandem on the show. And if anybody wants to beat him to it, hit us up.
Hit us up, yeah. But the challenge is out there.
Come on, Kyle. Car looks good. Welcome to 358.
Yeah, it looks great.
Buddy. Want to talk to you. Have a good night, everybody.